A payments company just watched months of engineering work collapse into a single day. It's not a demo, and it's not a cherry-picked benchmark. It's Stripe, reporting what happened when they pointed Anthropic's brand new model at one of its biggest production codebases on Earth. A migration that an entire team had budgeted over 2 months for, done by hand, finished in about a day. That model is called Claude Fable 5. It launched a few hours ago, and today we're doing what this channel always does: ignore the hype, pull the verified numbers, and work out what it actually costs. Because the price tag is the real story. Here's what actually launched this morning, and it's really one model wearing two names. Anthropic calls this tier Mythos-class, a step above their Opus line. The version everyone can use is Fable 5. The version with some of the guardrails lift is Mythos 5, and that one is restricted to vetted cyber defenders and government-adjacent partners. Same underlying weights. The only difference between the two is the safeguards bolted on top, and we'll get to those because they behave in a way no mainstream model has before. But first, the part that decides whether any of this matters to you. Now for the part nobody puts in the headline: what this thing costs. Look at the chart. Input tokens and output tokens, Fable 5 against Opus 4.8. The previous top model, it's exactly double. Both axes, not a rounding error premium, a clean 2x multiplier on the most expensive tier of AI you could already buy. Anthropic's framing is that it's less than half the price of the restricted preview model it replaces, which is true. But if you're an engineer budgeting agent workloads, the number that matters is that the ceiling of the market just upped by a factor of 2. Hold that thought because it changes some math we did in episode 1. So what do you actually get for paying double? The honest answer is the gains were concentrated in long tasks. Anthropic's own line is that the longer and more complex the job, the bigger Fable's lead. The early access numbers back that up. Hex says it's the first model to break 90% on their benchmark of complex, long-running analytical work, a 10-point jump on Opus in one generation. Cursor says it's opened up a class of long horizon problems that simply weren't reachable before. Notice the pattern. Nobody's bragging about chat. Every single early customer is talking about work that runs for hours or days without a human touching it. Let's go back to the migration story, because the scale of it is the whole argument. 50 million lines of Ruby. A codebase-wide migration, the kind of grinding, repetitive, error-prone work that burns out senior engineers. And the model did it in one day, where the by-hand estimate was a whole team for over 2 months. Do the rough division, and you're looking at compressing something like 60 team days into one. At that point, the token bill is noise. If, and it's a real if, your task looks like that one, huge, well-defined, verifiable, that's the profile where a 2x price premium disappears into the savings. And it's not just code. The model needs far less scaffolding than anything before it. 2 details from the launch material stood out to me. 1. It beat Pokemon Fire Red using nothing but raw screenshots. Older Claude models needed a whole harness of helper tools just to navigate. This one did it vision only. And 2. When they gave it a persistent notes file and had it play a log strategy game, the memory helped it 3 times more than the same setup helped Opus. Translation for people who build agents: less glue code, fewer crutches, longer runs before it loses the plot. That's where the money goes. But there's a catch built into the model itself, and you should know when it triggers. Fable 5 ships with classifiers watching every request, and when they detect certain topics, offensive cybersecurity, biology and chemistry, or attempts to distill the model, Fable doesn't answer. Opus 4.8 answers instead, and it tells you what happens. You're paying for the new model and sometimes getting last season's. Anthropic's own data says this hits fewer than 1 session in 20, and they admit the filters are deliberately overcautious at launch. If you work in security research or the life sciences, that number is going to be a lot higher for you. Budget accordingly. Anthropic also paid people to break these safeguards before launch. An external bug bounty ran over 1,000 hours of red teaming against the classifiers and produced 0 universal jailbreaks. Outside security firms got the same result on long agent tasks. The UK's AI Security Institute apparently made partial progress in a short window, which Anthropic disclosed themselves within the launch post. I'm telling you this for one reason. The fallback system from the last scene isn't a checkbox. It's the actual product decision that made releasing a Mythos-class model to the public possible at all. The safeguards are the price of admission. Now the date you actually need in your calendar. If you're on a paid Claude subscription, Pro, Max, Team, Fable 5 is included at no extra cost from today. That window closes on June 22nd. From the 23rd, using it eats usage credits until capacity improves and they fold it back into the plans. So there is right now a roughly 2-week window where you can benchmark the most capable public model on Earth against your own workload for free. If you've got a gnarly long horizon task lying around, this fortnight is when you find out what it's worth to you. And here's where this collides with everything this channel has measured so far. In episode 1, we measured a single always-on cloud agent at $7,200 a year, and that was Opus class prices. The frontier just doubled. If your agent graduates to Fable class pricing, that bill doubles before you've changed a line of code. So the gap this channel keeps measuring between renting frontier intelligence and owning a cheap local rig didn't shrink today, it got wider at one end. The frontier got smarter and pricier. The 8 GB box in episode 4 still scores 4 out of 5 for pennies. So who should actually pay for this? Here's the no vibes version. If your work looks like Stripes, long horizon, high stakes verifiable, the kind of thing you'd otherwise staff a team on, the 2x premium is irrelevant. Pay it. This is the best tool ever sold for that job. If your workload is the always-on, repetitive agent stuff we've been measuring all series, triage, extraction, formatting, glue, then doubling the frontier price just strengthened the local argument. The right answer was never one or the other. It's a portfolio. Run the genius by the hour. Own the workhorse outright. And because this channel doesn't do vibes, here's what happens next. Episode 4, I built a 15-task machine-graded exam and set my cheap local models down for it. Same grader, same temperature, zero determinism. No AI judging AI. Next episode, Fable 5 sits the exact same exam during the free window, so the marginal cost is zero, and we find out precisely how many of these 15 tasks actually need a $10 per million token brain. If you want the report card the moment it's graded, then subscribe. The benchmark code, as always, is in the description. This has been the validation set. See you in the next one.